Hey guys, before the video gets underway, there's more than likely going to be a lot of Leafs news in the next little while, so if you did enjoy this video, make sure to like and subscribe so you're not missing a thing. Welcome to Downtown Sports. My name is Downtown Stephen Brown, and in today's video, guys, we're going to be going over the two more selections that the Toronto Maple Leafs made in the 2021 entry draft. If you missed the video that I did about their first pick at 57th overall, that will be linked above the screen right now. Make sure to go out and check that out. I think a lot of people are going to really like that pick. And the Leafs really did have the audacity to go from 6'3" over 200-pound power forward Matthew Knies to 5'10", 160-pound winger Ty Voit between their two picks here. But while he is a bit smaller, he is one of the younger players available in this year's entry draft, being born in June and just having turned 18. And if we're reading the quick hit here on the scouting report, he's a player that accelerates really well, handles one-touch passes beautifully, and has a lot of creativity and deception in his game. There's no real patterns with this player. You don't really know what he's going to do when he's got the puck on his stick. And with the OHL not having played a game last season, we're really only going off of his age 16 season, in which he had 28 points in 49 games for the Sarnia Sting. And at the beginning of the season in January, he was ranked as the number 27 overall prospect on EliteProspects.com. But the OHL, like we already said, wasn't able to play all of last year, and many people believe that if they were able to play, he would have held in and around that position. I think in this year's draft, with so little to go on with players like Ty Voit, because there's a lot of players that are in his situation, you're really going to see the depth of certain teams' scouting departments, and we definitely do know that the Maple Leafs have a pretty large budget in that regards, and they have a lot of scouts at their disposal. This from the Hockey Writers: what impresses me the most about Voit is the fact that he is always moving his feet. He has a low stride and is able to effectively pick up speed through his crossovers. He gets in hard on the forecheck and is good at pressuring the opponent with the puck on his stick. He is not afraid to attack open lanes in the offensive zone and is good at surveying the ice to find his teammates for a pass. He is great at finding open space and in the offensive zone and always presents himself as an option for a pass. Voit has a good shot and is able to get it off in an instant. In the defensive zone, Voit has good positioning and is great at disrupting passing lanes with his stick. He has good gap control and effectively closes off guys to the outside of the defensive zone. In transition, he moves the puck up ice well and doesn't turn it over very often. Standing at 5'9", because you got to remember, this glowing report so far from the HockeyWriters.com is based off of his age 16 season in the Ontario Hockey League. He's not the biggest player, but he does not shy down from battling for the puck in the corners and is able to win puck battles against the bigger opponents fairly often. This is from the Canucks Army over at the Nation Network, and Brock Otten is a guy that writes for McKeen's Hockey, and he says a couple other teases. First, Ty Voit has to be considered one of the most individually skilled players out of the OHL for this year's draft. He may not be the biggest or the strongest, but he is a master manipulator of space and elevates the play of those around him. Draft's premier playmakers truly believe that if the OHL plays, he's a top 2-round selection. Insane vision and precision on his passes. More shifty, strong edge work than quick. Massive potential. Great selection. Look, not every small skilled guy is Mitch Marner or even Braden Point, who's just been an absolute monster for the Tampa Bay Lightning in the playoffs the last couple of seasons. But what I will say is that give me the tenacious, small, skilled player over the guy who's just big and kind of average any day of the week. I will take that bet, especially in the 5th round at 153rd overall. Are you kidding me? And look, like I said at the beginning of my Matthew Knies video, didn't know who the guy was before the Leafs selected him. But my job as a journalism student and here on this channel is to do research and to trust in the people that have been watching and evaluating these players the entire time, and they have nothing but glowing things to say about this kid from his age 16 season in the OHL. In what I assume is the Maple Leafs' last pick of the day, they select a goalie out of Russia in Vyacheslav Peksa. 6'2" and wow, just 163 pounds. This guy's really skinny. His birthday's August 27th. He's 18 years old, so he is one of the older players that is available in this year's draft, but there's not really much to go on here because he's not ranked by any of the public agencies. In the MHL, so I believe that's the equivalent to like the Russian American Hockey League, he had a 909 save percentage in 17 games and was 8-5-2. Now, one thing where the Leafs could have picked up some information on this guy is that he's a teammate of the goalie that they drafted last year, Artur Akhyamonov, who was kind of all over the place last season and was Russia's backup goaltender at the World Junior Championships, got into games at the KHL level, the Russian Junior League level in the VHL, and in the Russian AHL level, the MHL. So obviously after drafting Artur Akhyamonov, the Leafs are communicating with their staff and stuff like that, and maybe they really like their development process for their goalies, the training regimen, the routines and stuff like that they have their goalies go through, and it made sense to just get the guy that's a teammate of them, right? They can keep tabs on both of them, and if they trust that staff, I can understand why the Leafs felt comfortable with this pick. And if we're looking at the Maple Leafs' organizational goalie depth, it's Jack Campbell, then Michael Hutchison, Venny Vehviläinen, Joseph Woll, Eric Kallgren, who they signed out of the Swedish Hockey League this past season, who had a decent year, but really turned it on in the playoffs. I believe he had like a 930 save percentage in like 10 playoff games or so. Ian Scott. There's not very many impressive names here. There's not one name that really stands out over the other. And during an interview that Kyle Dubas gave during the draft, he said that the organization really wants to prioritize goaltending, especially in this upcoming free agency. And, a lot of people are going to be happy with that, but he also said that they want to prioritize forward depth up front, and they want to find forwards that are different from the ones that they already have. That is, of course, up to your own interpretation, whether they mean big or just different in terms of stylistically, because I've pointed out the Leafs have a lot of forwards who can go east-west and make pretty passes in and around in their own zone, but they've lost a lot of team speed the last couple of years, and it would be really nice to get some guys who can create chances off the rush, as well as some size and some other things like that. But anyway, the goaltending. Ian Scott being 22 years old, he did win CHL Goalie of the Year a couple of years ago, but the last two seasons have just been injury-riddled, and it's been a slow return for him. I'm really looking forward to see what he does with the Marlies or the Growlers this upcoming season. Joseph Woll kind of struggled this past season to really establish himself with the Toronto Marlies, and what was just a carousel act of goalies. I think they had like 5 or 6 of them played for them this past season. If you're bummed out about the Leafs only having 3 picks in this year's entry-level draft, I said this maybe a couple of times in the last couple of months or so, expect them to invite a bunch of overage prospects who don't end up getting drafted to try out for the Toronto Marlies, and that could lead to them snagging a couple of extra players. They already did that this past season with some guys who were even eligible for this year's draft, and the one advantage that the Leafs have in this situation, the OHL lost an entire year, right? There's some players that lost their last chance to showcase their talents, maybe even good players that are worth taking another look at. They live in Ontario. They live in the GTA. The Toronto Marlies, the Toronto Maple Leafs, are also in the GTA. They might want to try out for the team that's close by. So they have an advantage in that sense, and hopefully they're able to pick up a couple of those guys and make up for having a lack of picks. A couple of years ago, that was Trevor Moore with the American Hockey League tryout. He ended up playing some games for the team. This past season, they got Pavel Goalie as an undrafted, unsigned free agent. He ended up having 12 points in 13 games for the Marlies and looks like a real prospect at just 21 years old right now. Lots of those types of players are going to be available, so don't be too disappointed by the lack of picks. They may be able to make up for it. But I guess that's it for this video, guys. Make sure to like the video if you did like it and subscribe for more, because more is always on the way. And guys, hopefully we get some free agency news that we're all going to like in the next week or two.